This is the Astrology Show podcast with Jessica Adams.
Thanks, Shane. This is your astrology and tarot for the week starting January 20. Do you have Capricorn factors in your birth chart? The end of Mercury in Capricorn is coming this week. You can sign off from discussion or negotiations next regarding your career, unpaid work, or your academic career. Your tarot this week can be decoded at my website, and you can pick up a free 2025 astrology calendar while you're there. Aries, the Chariot. Taurus, the Star. Gemini, the Two of Pentacles. Cancer, the Five of Cups. Leo, the Queen of Cups. Virgo, the Hierophant. Libra, the Four of Swords. Scorpio, the Six of Swords. Sagittarius, the Page of Cups. Capricorn, the Queen of Pentacles. Aquarius, the Two of Swords. And Pisces, the Seven of Cups. Babies born this week will be psychic, spiritual, or religious when they are older, with plenty of choice. If it's your birthday, then happy birthday. Starting in June, the biggest and best cycle in 12 years for partnerships of all kinds begins for you. This week, Aries, you have a friend who is about to trigger questions about holding or sharing the reins. You have known this person for years, or you may find the friendship takes off in a new direction while this Pluto and Aquarius cycle is on. You have a group involvement too, which is going to require quite a lot of sustained hard work and careful management. It could be a band, a political party, a golf club, and so on. Pluto in the space in your chart requires planning. This cycle is about a compromise over power or outright control by people or organisations which are quite passionate about what they do. If you have anything in Aquarius in your birth chart, then you can double that message. And whatever your chart looks like, the idea of together we can be powerful or we can all be powerful together is so much better now than competing to be top dog by February or trying to avoid being bottom dog. Pluto is associated with dogs, funnily enough, because a dog guarded Hades. Taurus, explore the realities of your professional, business or academic situation from all angles, and then work as hard as you can to come up with a response to what is quite new power in the situation since November last year. When you want empowerment, you basically need to go for the hierarchy or the pyramid. Something that takes a long time to climb is a good idea. A corporation or university, for example. High society is a pyramid. You have Pluto in Aquarius in your 10th house. You also have Aquarius cycles in your 10th house into February. So this is about the mountain, the pyramid, the high-rise tower, or the peak achievement for you. And this is a very long cycle, so you're just at the very start of it. What you're being offered here is genuine control for the first time in a very long time. But the rules of engagement are that you are going to have to use self-control to get what you want. And that means probably with one key person, a staff member or an employer, for example, or even an entire group. But the self-control is worth it. And little by little, you'll get there. Gemini. The inner world is more important than the outer world this week. You have this transit going through the 12th house of your chart, which is solitary and private. You can see yourself in your own time and space, and it's about your soul, psyche, psychology, or your spirit. So this is about God or not God, Buddha or not Buddha, psychiatrists, psychics, psychologists perhaps. Your life now is about all that is hidden behind the scenes, below the surface and in the depths. It goes on until July. This week picks up on important questions from last year about the ongoing revolution in the head. People go and see priests to confess what is hard for the soul, and people also use self-help to relieve their soul. If you have Pisces factors in your birth chart, Gemini, well, you can double that message. You now have a triple lineup in Pisces. Even if you don't, or you don't know, this cycle is offering you classically freedom from or freedom through. You supply the rest of the sentence. So it may be freedom from guilt, for example, or freedom through a guru. You need to be alone to feel it this week, and you will be. Cancer. Friends and groups are the big focus in your natal and your solar chart this week, so public and private horoscope. Uranus in Taurus is challenging you to experiment without guarantees. However, you will be guaranteed one thing: a far more interesting and authentic social life, friendship, or group in your life. And this may be Substack or the real world, like a football team. Removing the emotion from friendship and groups is well nigh impossible for you because you are a water sign and feelings are your thing. But it is time to look at this as an exercise in freedom. This cycle is all about breaking with the past, with friends and groups, and inventing a new future, with or without some people. Uranus is freedom from or freedom through. If you have Aquarius factors in your natal chart, then you can double that message. And whether you do or don't, this is still life-changing stuff socially. It goes on until July, but this week is one of those peaks on the graph. And Independence Days, plural, are here over the next 7 days. You will either find independence with people who allow that space and oxygen in the room, or you will find independence from a group or friend that you realise is keeping you in a box. Leo. Well, success these days depends on how free you feel and how much space you think you have, how independent you are. And if you are trapped by any situation with your career, your unpaid work, or anything that you do that you would call your role, then this week you could begin to take quite radical steps to escape it. In fact, you've already done this once. You did it between 2018 and 2024, and you may do this again, looking for more freedom by mid-year if you feel restricted. By mid-2025, you will have sheared away the past or seen it sheared away by other people, and that is a big lop of your CV. And yet it also liberates you. Actually, to be honest, you would all be set free by a situation. Uranus in Taurus comes out of the blue. Someone mentions an opportunity and it hits like lightning. Suddenly you know what you want to do or who you need to talk to make it happen with work or unpaid work or study. This cycle moves very quickly and can actually be accompanied by literal lightning. So this is a week when you can feel quite galvanized and charged up. And as this is about your status and your success, it is extremely important for you, Leo, as you are king or queen to a younger court. Virgo, the difference in your financial position, your property situation, and your attitude to what you own, earn, and owe will be quite astonishing once this cycle with Saturn and Neptune in Aries kicks in during May, and May could already be in your diary. Prepping for it this week is a good idea because this week is about your life budget, what you will and will not sell out for, and what you consider to be above money. You are prepping for it now because the North Node has only just left Aries in January, so a stuck, circular, or repetitive situation with money or property has also finished. And over in your birth chart, we have wheels turning in Taurus, the sign that rules your money. If you have Taurus factors, you can double all this. It's twice as important. The most unpredictable situation with your money, house, or apartment, or that of a second or third party, will stop in July with some clues now. And in May, which I already mentioned, what you can look forward to is an escape from the real world. Alone is a classic example. Another one is house sitting. Another one is an escalation in the value of a home. It's not real, but it is real. It will come with rules and restrictions, Virgo, but around May, there is a bubble waiting. Libra. If you believe that your values are worth it, your life budget is so important to you, you must stage your own revolution in this cycle, triggered again this week. Watch out for the impact that you're having on other people or organisations, though. If you cause too many eruptions with the money, the house, the business, the possessions, or the apartment, then you will begin a domino effect that goes all the way to July, and it's totally unpredictable. Very few people like change, but this is also the ideal time to loosen up and become more flexible about cash, property, possessions, and values. If you're ready to move forward at a moment's notice, that's how quickly things could change for you. And you've already seen this more than once between 2018 and 2024 with either your bank account, your home, for example, or a company. If you have Taurus factors in your birth chart, this message is doubly important and it will change everything by July. For whatever reason, though, Libra, and it may have been very disruptive at the time, you are now far more your own person financially, doing your own thing according to your values. And this is important this week. Scorpio. This endgame Sun in Capricorn cycle will affect 3 areas of your life: a sibling or cousin, secondly, short journeys and commuting, and thirdly, the media and the internet. And sometimes, of course, it can hit all 3 at once. All these areas of your life are transition now, because late 2024 was the ending, and now early 2025 is the beginning. So in a way, what you're doing is closing the book with a brother, sister, or cousin and writing a new one. And it's the same with the web, the media, your car, public transport, or going between neighbouring places. You have ended last year with a final chapter, but at the same time, you were already writing the new one. This week will allow you to do a rewrite of what was ever in place there for you near Christmas. And again, you could take yourself in a different direction. But the most important thing is that you are now well and truly out of the Pluto cycle, which between 2008 to 2024 was so relentless. It is taking a little bit of time to get used to, Scorpio, but it's well and truly gone. Sagittarius. Pluto cycles now in Capricorn, which rules your money, and other cycles in Cancer, which rule property and business, are picking up all the numbers in your life, and you will be signing off or signing on very shortly. You also have Neptune, Saturn, and the North Node in your real estate and rent zone. So no wonder you have to make time for all of this over the next 7 days. The big picture in 2025 reveals a change of location for you or a reshaping of your residence, maybe more than once, and May 2025 is the turning point. This month might already be in your calendar. In May, you sign off from years of confusing and confused situations affecting your apartment, house, or real estate, maybe the land or the garden. In May, which you could preview this week, a waiting game is also finally over. Basically, in May, Neptune and Saturn are both out of Pisces, and that's your property, rental, and home ownership zone, your family and household zone. So years of no boundaries becomes history in just a few months, and you're already seeing clues and signs now. You will see signs of the future this week. And the arrival of Jupiter in Cancer in your birth chart is also big, and that's June. So a May-June two-step with property, family, household, and a sense of place. The best and the greatest is yet to come. And if you have anything in Cancer in your horoscope, you can double that message. Capricorn, you now have breathing space between family questions, household matters, and the next steps in May 2025. You have signed off from a stuck situation in January and might now have May, June on your calendar, either in terms of your relatives or the house and the apartment. This is because in May and June, 2 big things happen at once. First of all, you have Saturn and Neptune in your home zone, real estate sector, and relatives zone. That's new. It's a holiday from the real world. And secondly, also in June, in your birth chart, Jupiter goes into Cancer, which rules the same things: the house, the apartment, the household, or the family tree. So mid-year announces itself this week. You will see clues and signs all over the place, as this is a classic cycle for necessary change mid-year in terms of your landlord, tenants, flatmates, domestic partners, neighbours, body corporate, local council, or even the government if it affects where you live. How you live and where you live is now really well and truly up for discussion with yourself or a second person, but it may take a few months for you to see all the jigsaw pieces falling into place. Aquarius. This Jupiter in Gemini cycle affects 3 different areas of your life. Firstly, the world of children and babies, your own or other people's. Secondly, the world of close relationships. And finally, how you feel about younger generations, teenagers and younger adults as a whole. What you need now is to take the opportunities. An optimistic sense of, well, this could happen is exactly right for this transit. Jupiter is all about being an optimist and taking a punt or a gamble on something that you set up. It may be, for example, adoption, teaching children, a new relationship. Child custody or blended families are sometimes the story on this cycle. And if you are willing to try, then you could find that things reward you by June. If you have anything in Leo in your birth chart, you can double this general message, although you will be going back and forth with one situation for several months, with April being the reveal. Aquarius, even if you don't have Leo factors in your chart or you don't know, this cycle this week is well and truly triggered with chances for you to either fix issues that you have around children, teenagers, or young adults, around close relationships, or just to take an opportunity which is staring you in the face. Pisces, this Mars retrograde in Leo cycle, which goes backwards and forwards, affects two areas of your life. The first one covers your job, your daily routine, or the domestic work that you do at home. And the second area covers your health, fitness, and well-being. In both areas now, you will find backwards action. Mars is about action, and it's been going into reverse since last year, which might explain a few things. In April, May, and June, a matter which has disappeared for you with work or your well-being will be back for final handling. It may already be the case that something has appeared, then disappeared. It may have been a work offer that you were keen to start with and then let go, or this may be an issue about your health on any level, which is unresolved. This is a really good week to take stock and to step back without the heat of the Mars cycle while it's ducking and diving. If you have anything in Virgo in your birth chart, do look at your health situation as it was 18 or 19 years ago, because what is happening with your work and well-being is about the need to look back. Even if you don't, or you don't know, you can't really be a wheel in the machine of work and housework, unpaid work or study without having maintenance yourself. Even if what was gathering speed at the end of last year is now out of sight or off the agenda, it will absolutely come back later. So this is a good week to take stock. I'm going to end the podcast by looking at the brand new nodal cycle in your life, which I've been asked loads of questions about. So you may have been reading about this or hearing about it. Basically, the North Node and South Node are going into new signs. And this is an 18 or 19-year cycle, which goes back decades, centuries, and it's about repetition. The big one is that we're going to see the South Node go into the sign of Virgo, which rules public health. So at the top of your list have been questions about bird flu, also the continuation of COVID and new strains of influenza. Much as you'd love to say that COVID is over as an astrologer, you have to be a realist and you have to respect the cycles of time. And every single time that we see the nodes go through Virgo in history, we get huge public health concern, and it always hits working people. This is because Virgo rules both of them. It rules the work that you do and also the shape that you're in, how you are medically, physically, and clinically. And we can go back centuries for this and find incidences of everything from plague to AIDS coinciding with any major Virgo node cycle. At the same time, we always see solutions coming through, and that's also part of the repetition. But if you're not across the latest news on these issues, you may want to be. This is not a time for denial or for forgetting what you remember from 2020. We are moving into this cycle with a classic setup in that politics is reflecting the astrology, and we are going into a brand new year of different government in the United States, with a man in charge of public health who has extreme views on vaccines. At the same time, we're beginning to hear about new strains of the flu which are hitting India, and of course, new variants of COVID as well. No astrologer really likes to be a doom and gloom merchant, but you also have to ring the alarm bell. That's your job. And if you're not being more cautious than usual, it may be time to think about that. The other obvious public health issue, which is making everyone think about masks, is the ongoing crisis in Los Angeles. So smoke inhalation, air quality. We may, in fact, move towards a Clean Air Act in more than one state in the US, but also right around the world, as awareness of the truth of airborne virus hits home. It's that kind of cycle. If you have anything in Virgo in your chart, then this is really about you in quite a personal way. And a very easy thing to do is to go back to your email from 18 or 19 years ago and look at what was happening for you with work, with the doctor, maybe with an issue like your diet or your physical fitness. Go back and look at your email in terms of university or college or any volunteering that you were doing, any unpaid work like housework or the gardening. And look at where there is an intersection between how you were feeling physically and mentally and the work that you were or were not able to do, because that's Virgo. And that will give you all the clues that you need as you go into this new cycle. The other end of the node is Pisces. We have had the North Node in Pisces 18 or 19 years ago too. And if you have anything in Pisces in your chart, this is a landmark year for you in terms of what you believe and what you know to be true that you cannot prove or show to other people. Religion is usually at the top of the list, but it can also be quantum theory. In fact, it can be anything from the tarot to the Anglican Church. It can be anything from therapy to self-help to counselling, because it's private and it's personal for you. If you do have Pisces factors, then what you need to know is that at the moment in January, we have the North Node going through Pisces and Saturn and Neptune. On a global level, this is about religion. It's about what's happening in Gaza and also Ukraine. And it is time for what they might call a historical reckoning for religion this year. You may, in fact, find things come full circle. That's certainly happening for the Church of England. It may affect you personally if you are religious, and if you're not, it won't touch you at all. But you are going to find this year that you'll return to familiar themes from 18 or 19 years ago about anything from therapy to the tarot, because it was private and it was solitary, and it was about what other people couldn't see. The whole point of the nodes is to help you evolve. That's the view of astrologers, and it holds in India as well, where they call the nodes Rahu and Ketu. In the Middle Ages, they were called the dragon's head and the dragon's tail. They probably knew about them at Stonehenge, and even though you can't see these mysterious things called nodes, as cycles of time, they're incredibly important. So for you or the people that you know, as you go through this week of January, if there are work or health issues which feel vaguely familiar, that's because they are. And looking back 18 or 19 years will help. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch up with you next week.